Hello friends, Adam here with FED. So I've heard a lot of people talk about like their favorite builds and stuff in three houses, and some of the common ones are like the high crit builds, the high avoid builds, and things like that. So I want to talk about how you would actually go about doing that. Because if you're newer to Fire Emblem or maybe just newer to three houses, you may not really understand what really goes into making these builds that have 100 plus crit or have 100 plus avoid, stuff like that. So I want to show that off a little bit and talk about how you would go about making this happen in a playthrough. We're going to show it off on Byleth. Got Byleth here. So the first thing is your class. And the class line you're going to want to go through to get all the skills necessary to really make an effective build for this. And lucky for us, this isn't gender. We're going to talk about a crit build essentially today. And lucky for us, it's not gender exclusive. So if I were on a fresh game file and I really wanted to build Byleth into a crit machine, there's a couple different ways you could go about it, but this is what I would do personally. Of course, you start in common or whatever, and then in beginner, I'd probably go fighter, just to get that +1 in axes for skill experience bonus there. And then I would move into brigand for more axe experience and also death blow for later on. And then once we get to, and if you're feeling crazy, you could do something else like learn advantage, which could be fun on mercenary, from mercenary or something if you have the time. They also get some buffed axe bonus to their skill experience during battles and stuff, so that can be helpful as well. But death blow is definitely more important in my opinion. And then in advanced, this is my opinion, the easiest place to go is warrior here. Which I'm equipped on. I was like, where is it? It's because I have it equipped. Is warrior here, and you need to master warrior for wrath, and you don't need to, but this is definitely the most reliable way to have like a really high crit rate. Right, is wrath, and then from there, I go to Wyvern Lord and grab Defiant Crit. So essentially, when you're really low on HP, you'll just have insanely high critical hit rate with both Wrath and Defiant Crit, right? So that's kind of the class path for that. For me, that's what I would do. There's some like alternative builds you could do where you could go like for a more sword path and go through Myrmidon and then probably like Mercenary for Vantage. And then Swordmaster is probably what the class you'd want to end in. So you might want to go to, if you can, go to Warrior and get Wrath. And then you have the Wrath Vantage combo if you mastered Mercenary. And then if you sit in Swordmaster, which has a Sword Crit +10, that's a pretty potent combo, right? But I think for most, like the most effective one you're going to get is going through axes and whatnot. There's also a case to be made to do like bow, go through bows, like archer and stick and sniper, just because sniper has the hunter's volley combat art, which is really good, and if you have like a high crit bow, that can be really effective. But for like a fresh file and for you, someone who you want to be like a frontline fighter like Byleth, then I think the axes is the way to go. Now let's look at the actual abilities to build here. This is what I have here, and I'm going to get rid of Death Blow and equip something else. Probably something like Alert Stance Plus if I already am building up flying ranking. Or maybe even Vantage if I grabbed that. Personally, I really like Lancebreaker on Maddening. There's a lot of scary Lance units like Falcon Knights, Pegasus Knights, and some scary Paladins and whatnot. So Lancebreaker can be really nice on your Axe unit. And again, Death Blow's fine if you want to go there. There's plenty of different options here that you could go for. Ultimately, the best one would be, if you're trying to go for like super high crit, would be Axe Crit, right? But I understand getting Axe Crit is not the easiest thing to do. You have to get an S rank in Axes, which, especially with Byleth, can be pretty tough, but if you focus really hard on axes, I think you can make it happen. Especially towards the end game, where you have so many activity points on the weekends that you just like don't even know what to do with them, and you just train axes as much as you can, right? So this would give you, effectively, So plus 20 with the axe crit plus 10s. And then with Wrath, when you're under half HP, when the enemy attacks, you get plus 50 crit. Oh, whoops. Defiant crit when you're under 25, you get another 50. And then Battalion Vantage is kind of the kicker here. With Battalion Vantage, when foe initiates combat, unit will attack first if Battalion's endurance is less than 1/3. So you can do that, or if you do have it, which if you do, awesome, go for it. Throw on Vantage. Because these two skills already count on you being on low HP. And Vantage, it's not super. It doesn't take a long time to master, honestly. And Byleth basically already has the sword rank to get into Mercenary, so it's not a too terribly like large investment, honestly. But that's like a super high crit build that you could get going for yourself. And the big question is, well, how do I get into this low HP threshold quickly in a map? And the answer is quite simple. You do it with guard adjutants, like Byleth here. So this Byleth I have right here, it's gonna be honestly probably like next to impossible to show off on this map because she's just really strong. And this is only like chapter 13 or chapter 14. So she's really busted right now for this playthrough. But on a regular like fresh file new game playthrough, it's not uncommon to get doubled, especially by fast enemies like assassins and swordmasters and even thieves and stuff on maddening, like all over the place. And with a guard adjutant, she'll take damage on the first hit, and then the second attack that she takes, she cannot die, right? Because that's how guard adjutants work. They reduce damage from follow-up attacks on enemies, and also just like, it acts as a miracle. You cannot die from a follow-up attack when you have a guard adjutant, which is busted if you think about it, and also allows you to get to low HP really easily. Now, last thing that is important to consider is weaponry. And you know, if you're going the sword path, you definitely want to go. If you want to optimize your crit, you want to go Wu Dao, and if you can get a Wu Dao Plus, which I just didn't have the ore to show it off right here, and I didn't feel like getting it. But it is another 5 crit and also another 10 uses, so it's not going to break as quickly. But also, if you're going the axe, you got, or actually, I think it's another 10 crit. I think it's 40. Yeah, I think Wu Dao Plus is a 40 crit. But then you got like or Killer X Plus, which is 35 crit here, which you just end up having tons and tons of crit. So honestly, it's not that hard to do. Like I've thought about it and been like, oh, that sounds like a lot of work in a regular playthrough. I like to have units that are set it and forget it, if I'm being honest. But you know, if you're willing to put in just a little bit of work, you can really make any unit a critting machine. In particular, you can make like look at that, 70 crit, and that's without the bonuses from Wrath and Defiant crit. So if you can really make it all work throughout the entire playthrough, you can have just an absolute monster. And honestly, the path that I've given by going through, you know, getting Death Blow to use in the meantime, going through Warrior, going into Wyvern Lord, those are all solid combat classes. So even without all the tools right at the beginning to have like a high crit build, you still have a solid unit throughout the game, and once you unlock kind of everything and it all comes into place, you have this really busted unit. You just get crits left and right. All the crits. 116 damage.
I must lead them well.
Yep. Alright, well, I think that is going to do it for me today. Make sure to like this video to help the channel grow a little bit. This is free, it's easy, and it helps me out. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, if you're new. And also, if you have any like 3 houses video suggestions in the comments, let me know. If you have different kind of builds you want me to cover. Do you want me to cover like an accuracy build? Do you want me to cover, I don't know, like a tanky, high defense build, some stuff like that? And how to really achieve those effectively with just about anybody? I'd be happy to talk about that. But for now, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later, friends.